More tonight, a retired Jeffersonville firefighter who intended to become Utica Township's fire marshal now faces 3 felony charges. Donald Johnson is charged with child molestation, voyeurism, and obstruction of justice. He has pleaded not guilty and is out of jail after posting his $50,000 bond. But a police report says a 13-year-old relative came to Johnson's home to try on clothes after Black Friday shopping. The teen revealed to officers Johnson told her to bend over several times to see if her underwear was showing. That report, and police also saying that the teen told them that she noticed a camera in the room where she was changing. That minor told officers Johnson started to massage their feet while they were watching football, and during that, the victim told police Johnson repeatedly moved his hands up her, details very graphic there in the report. Now, Johnson was put on leave from the Utica Fire District in December after he told the department he was under investigation. The trial is now set for June.